ahead and call this meeting to order for the Edgefield County Council here on July the 11th at 6 p.m. Appreciate everybody being here. Let me just say at the top of the meeting that I do also thank Vice Chair Talbot for running the meeting last time. We appreciate that in my absence, although I was here on the phone, but I wasn't here. So thank you. So with that, we're going to start with the invocation led by George Garden from Antioch Baptist Church, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. If everyone will please stand.
Let's pray. Father God, we just thank you for a day you've given us, Lord, to be able just to gather, Lord, and do business, Lord, that you have designed. Lord, I just pray for wisdom, Lord, for the council, Lord, you just give them clarity on decisions that are made, Lord, for the people of Edgefield. Lord, I pray that, Lord, it's done with not only wisdom, Lord, but with kindness towards one another, things that are discussed, Lord, for the great people of Edgefield. Lord, I pray that all this brings you honor and glory. In Christ we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Please join us for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. All right, Council, we'll start with the approval of the agenda. I have no recommendations for changes tonight. Does anybody have any other recommendations of changes? If not, is there a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Talbot makes the motion, and Dr. Kenyon seconds. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. All opposed, motion passes unanimously. Next is our approval of the minutes. We'll start with the June 6, 2023 regular monthly meeting minutes. Any questions or comments on those minutes? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve those minutes as presented?
So moved.
Okay, and let's see, Mr. Moody makes the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Talbot seconds. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. All opposed, motion passes unanimously. Then finally, the June 1, 2023 joint meeting that we had with the CTC. Any questions or comments about those minutes? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve those minutes as presented?
So moved.
All right, Ms. Ireland makes the motion. Is there a second? And Dr. Kenyon seconds. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. All opposed, motion passes unanimously. We're up to public comments, the first public comment period. Do we have anybody? Nobody? All right. Then we will close, Council, the first public comment period and move to reports. Any questions or comments about the reports? Hearing none, we move to the consent agenda. Is there anything we need to take off the consent agenda tonight? Okay, hearing nothing, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So moved.
Mr. Talbot makes the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Moody seconds. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. All opposed, motion passes unanimously. Council, there is no old business this time, so we go straight into new business. So the first item of new business is consideration of approval to lease the rear parking lot of St. Mary's Catholic Church for the consideration of $1 in basic parking lot maintenance from August 1, 2023 to August 1, 2028. So I'll ask the administrator if he'd like to talk about this lease.
Council, this is a lease that we have had in the past, not for a few years, but St. Mary's would like to enter into this lease again. When there are meetings in this building, larger meetings or training events, people naturally, the overflow parking is across the street in St. Mary's parking lot. This lease simply formalizes the church's approval of that reality, what's already occurring. The county simply agrees to patch any potholes that may appear due to increased use and to paint the parking lines. It's 25 parking spaces once in a 5-year period. That's a nominal cost of maybe $100 of materials. That's all.
Okay, and I'll tell council that we have done this in the past and it's never been an issue. It's for a long time. I think we've done lease agreements through the years. But are there any questions or comments from council? Okay, hearing none, is there a motion to give, to approve that lease as it's been presented?
So moved.
Okay, Ms. Allen makes the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Talbot seconds. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by raising your hands. All opposed, motion passes unanimously. Next is item number 2 under new business is consideration of entering into a consulting contract with Arlene Traxler from July 15, 2023 to November 15th, 2023. Again, I'll ask the administrator if he'd like to talk about this contract.
Yes, this is an item that I discussed with council earlier this year. As you know, we have a new treasurer, Joe Knight. She was able to train part-time under Arlene Traxler for several weeks before she took office. This contract would allow Joe to bring in Miss Arlene as needed up to 12 hours a week for the next 4 months. I think what council would find is that she would not need that long, and the time she brings her in would quickly be reduced. But this is simply to allow continuity of service in the treasurer's office. So staff recommends that council approve this.
Questions or comments from council? Okay, hearing none, is there a motion to approve this consulting contract with Arlene Traxler? Okay, Dr. Kenyon makes the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
And Mr. Moody seconds. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. All opposed, motion passes unanimously. Next is item 3 under new business, which is consideration of approval to award the Nice Building Security Contract to Carver Security for installation of alarms, access control, and a camera system. Of course, I'll ask the administrator if he'll take us through this process and these bids, please.
So over the past several months, we worked with the sheriff to assess the security needs of the Nice building. This was based on employee concerns. After reviewing the 5 bids received, staff believe it would be best to go with Carver Security, which is located in Aiken, due to service and maintenance considerations with an alarm system. There are a number of cameras and keypads and door contacts and so forth. They are closer to Edgefield than the low bidder who was in Atlanta. And they also service many clients in the area. That's all.
So let me start with a question. So the low bidder, although it's only low by $700-ish, give or take, right? Is it the maintenance reason that they're close, they can do maintenance? Is that the key reason, or are there any other reasons why we would not choose the low bidder?
So, like he said, one of the primary considerations is that they're all the way in Atlanta. So obviously, any kind of service or maintenance we would need, they would have to drive a considerable distance to get here. Whereas Carver is a local security firm. One of the other reasons is the sheriff's department, I suppose. They know Carver Security. He has worked a lot of places in the CSRA. He has a very good reputation for what he does. And primarily, we are paying for a service, not a product. So we are making our recommendation off of the continued service over time rather than the cost of the cameras themselves.
And one other question, this contract would be for how long?
So what you see is actually the cost of the equipment and the installation. The actual contract for the alarm company is between $20 to $48 a month, depending on whether we have cellular backup systems or not. So it's a month-by-month type contract. You could cancel anytime or go with another provider. But this price is the actual physical equipment and the installation of that equipment in the structure itself. So, but the actual monthly cost is $50 a month at most.
Right, this is an equipment installation contract, not a monthly monitoring contract.
Gotcha. Okay. Questions or comments from council?
David, you've already answered it to me, but for the public to know, the other 3 bids are just way, way out there. Could you explain the difference of, I don't want people thinking we're not getting what we need when they see the vast difference in the high price versus the one we're going with.
Yes, oftentimes when you publish something on the state, the SCIBO site, you have people that really don't expect to get the bid, but they put out a large price hoping that they might. They don't have to waste time to come look at it. Oftentimes, they just put a high enough price to cover themselves should they get it. And that that is why you get some of these outlier numbers. It's not necessarily that their product is that much better.
And so you said this is for the installation and equipment. So if we decided maybe we didn't want them, for some reason we might be unhappy with the month-to-month with them, can we change that with another company?
That is correct. You can, what we will do is because it's so low, their monitoring agreement, we would enter into a contract with them, but it would be a short-term renewable contract. And if they didn't uphold their part of the bargain, then any other security monitoring company could utilize this equipment.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know.
Other questions or comments from council? Okay, hearing none, is there a motion to approve the award of this contract to Carver Security?
So moved.
Okay, Ms. Ireland makes the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Moody seconds. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. All opposed, motion passes unanimously. Next is number 4 on the agenda, new business, and it's consideration of approval to award the contract to Gore Construction to refurbish and remodel the building formerly used by the Boy Scouts located at 312 Penn Street for use as rental space and county recreational programs. So again, I'll ask both the administrator and assistant administrator if they'd like to take us through this one, please.
Sure. Last month, council voted to proceed with soliciting bids to repair this building. As I said before, the Boy Scouts are no longer operational in Edgefield County. It is a county building, and it's ideally suited for rentals or recreation because it's a long rectangular building with a large open area, a bathroom, kitchenette, and storage. We did put this out for bid. Doc wrote the specs on this. And Gore Construction submitted the low bid. They are a local company, so they would have gotten local bid preference anyway. We asked council to approve this bid because we think it's actually lower than we expected it to be. We did meet with the owner of the construction company to make sure that he was exactly on board with the bid document because the price was so good. And while out there, Doc and I noticed some other issues, foundational issues that probably will need to be addressed in the course of construction. So while the bid was $83,665, we would ask council to approve utilizing up to $100,000 of American Rescue Plan funds to tackle those foundation issues, should we need the money to do that.
Anything else?
That's all.
So just for, to remind people who may be listening or see this agenda, can you explain what the local preference means?
For local contractors, they do get a bid preference. Essentially, it would make their bid appear lower than it is for consideration. Of course, they were the low bid anyway, and they did not need to utilize that local preference.
Which is something that council passed.
That is correct.
At some point
That is
here, so.
correct.
Okay. All right, questions or comments from council?
Are we familiar with this construction company? Have we used them before?
I'll defer to Doc on that.
So I did call around, Edgefield County ourselves, we have not used them before, but they have done work for the city of North Augusta. They've done work for Aiken County, and they've done work for the city of Aiken. So I did call my counterparts in those areas. They had no complaints. He did the job that he agreed to do. His license is in perfect condition. He's got no complaints against him. He meets all of our requirements for a GC, and he is licensed. He is bonded and insured correctly to work for government. So he didn't get any bad marks on the reviews.
He lives in your district, Tiffany.
He lives on
Woodlawn.
Woodlawn Road, yeah.
Just one other question I have. Did y'all talk about a timeline to when he would start and when he would finish, that kind of thing?
So, we will have to delay, a start if council approves this contract, for several weeks. The Methodist Church, United Methodist Church, has sponsored the Boy Scouts traditionally. And now that they are sort of out of business, the Methodist Church is willing to take their materials and store them in case they were to start back up at some point. So they will come in and clean out all of the Boy Scout equipment and memorabilia. And then our crews will come clean the other things out. So I would suggest that we could complete that by August 1st. And then he would be free to start. We did not discuss a deadline, as this is not a rush job.
A job of this scope would usually be 3 to 6 months.
That's what I was thinking. So maybe by next year, we might be ready to start some recreational things in there, is what we can aim for.
It will depend on what we find when we start tearing things out. So if we get in there and we do need to address some foundational issues and start cutting slab and doing things of that nature, of course, that's gonna add, time to it. But if we go in, we crack seal and put down an epoxy floor and everything else goes smooth, it won't take them very long at all. So it just, once you start tearing things apart, you start discovering things.
And this, I'd just like to add that this will be an excellent rental building. It will be great for use, for training, for county staff, for little conferences. It'll be outstanding for those uses. If council would like to utilize this as county rec, there's probably a couple of other steps, not really to do with the building, but for example, if you were gonna hold dance classes there, if we were going to contract with an instructor to teach, ballet and tap and things like that, then we would probably construct an outside shelter sitting area for the parents and probably a playground for the kids that aren't participating. These aren't very costly things, but if council would like to continue into the rec arena here, then we would need to add those items. And as I poll council, as I talk to you individually, and if that's the direction you'd like to go, then while we have a contractor there, we may want to get quotes on constructing that outdoor shelter. We may want to get quotes or apply for a PARD grant for the playground. And that's coming up in the fall, so we're close.
But David, I have no problem, since you contracted out there and already doing the work, I have no problem with you getting a quote on whatever it take, to get it, the playground or whatever need to go on, add on to it. I don't think we have a problem with it. I don't think the rest of the council members have a problem with it.
You good?
Okay, well, we will obtain quotes for your consideration then.
Okay.
Other questions or comments from council? Okay, hearing none, is there a motion to approve awarding this bid to Gore Construction and for having it up to $100,000 if necessary?
So move, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, Mr. Talbot makes the motion. Is there a second?
Second?
And Ms. Ireland seconds. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. All opposed, motion passes unanimously. Next is comments from the public. I think we have one. So I'll remind our speaker, he has 5 minutes or less.
How y'all doing tonight?
Good. How about yourself?
Good, good. Hey, good evening. First of all, I just want to say thank you to each one of you for your service. To Edgefield County, I recognize the investment of time required to make a difference in our community, and I appreciate your investment. Before I get started on what I came for, I just want to recognize Mr. Simpson and the great work that he's done at the Sweetwater Community Center and all the team down there, getting the landscaping fixed and the old smoke facility removed. It looks great. So I come to you tonight as a concerned citizen about our future. I came to discuss 2 items this evening, and I'm open to speaking with each of you individually about the multifaceted aspects of the 2 topics. First, I've ordered each of you a book, which might help us as a county as we think about preserving the rural feel of Edgefield County while also preserving property rights. The title of the book is Small Farm Republic. In short, I would like our county council to consider how we can support small farmers producing food locally here in Edgefield County. Local food production is critically important from a resilience standpoint. As you may be aware, or maybe not, the average age of the American farmer producing food today in our country is 60 years old. The barriers for the next generation to enter agriculture or the food production industry are substantial, and these barriers also make it difficult for an aging farmer to exit the industry. In fact, due to these challenges, the suicide rate among small farmers rivals the suicide rate among veterans, which is a statistic rarely discussed. We have 504 square miles in Edgefield County, the vast majority of which is in the timber industry. 100 years ago, the vast majority of them were small farms. As we think about the demographic shift taking place, causing people to move into our county from other regions of our nation, which is a good thing, I would like county council to think about how they might support small farms in the future. Small, regenerative agriculture. This gift might help in that endeavor, and I'm going to loan this copy to Vice Chairman Albert Talbert until each of you receive your copies, which are in the mail. They'll be delivered to Aretha's office. Second issue is a little more complicated. There are those who believe we are in the most dangerous time period in our nation's history. For a wide range of reasons, the divisions we see at the national level are being pushed down to the local level in ways that the polarization is causing neighbors to no longer speak with one another. Some believe this polarization is actually being aided by external forces, dividing us from within. As a local leader, I know this is a challenge, and I want to suggest to you the idea that personnel is policy. Personnel is policy. When a county council member appoints individuals to various boards, we should ensure that they have a strong desire to build community, not division. Community which entertains differing views from all walks of life, from long-term residents as well as those just moving here, then collaborates to bring about decisions which benefit all for the next generation. Iron sharpening iron, building consensus through debate of qualified, differing opinions is a healthy thing. We currently have an individual serving on one of our county boards who has a history of not providing this type of consensus building, but shouting down discussion. This individual currently moderates 2 local social media groups where dialogues are taking place and being viewed by potential investors from outside of Edgefield County who want to invest in Edgefield County. And I would simply ask the county council, if you've appointed someone to represent you who behaves badly, that you remember that they represent you, and ultimately, they represent all of us in Edgefield County. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. And I apologize for us not having 2 hours of business for you to have to wait before you had to speak. You picked the right night. All right, council, no one else signed up for the public comment period, so I'll move to reports from council members. Are there any reports from council members tonight?
I just want to give an update on the convenience center problems that some of us have been getting phone calls about. David has set up a meeting this Thursday with the senior center who provides our employees that manage these centers, and so we're going to sit down at the table and try to hash out a plan to allow non-county residents to quit using our convenience centers. And also, the biggest problem, I think, is a lot of construction materials are being brought there and not being turned away. So we're working on some ideas, but that's happening Thursday, so we are moving forward with some plans, so it's going forward and not backwards.
Okay, thank you.
I would like to say that this morning I had the opportunity to go to Jackson, South Carolina, big city of Jackson. I enjoyed the celebration, 25 years celebration at the Tri-County. My first time ever there. It was my second time in Jackson. First time at Tri-County, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I really did. The luncheon was great, but the tour was very informative. Very. I never thought that trash can be up so high and then crushed into just like dirt. I actually video and have tape record. I mean, I was right there at it. And it was just so exciting that after we got the tour from the guy, Mr. Scott, he said, you know, you can bring anyone back. And when I got home, I called my family up. So we going back to Jackson. We're gonna make this phone call. And said it was just so informative. And I got to take my hat off to our chairman, Dean, even though he wasn't there today. He gave me his reason, like he owed me that. But anyway, I just like to say I enjoyed just everyone that was so informative about everything, and they talk so highly about you. And I must say that Aiken County and Orangeburg County is the largest two counties with trash, and we didn't make that list. But everything else was just great, and I recommend that if anyone never ever been there, they should go, because I didn't know that. I just thought trash was just trash. And I got to really experience today what it take to move and then make trash into water, turn it to water, and I evaporate. I just saw it all. So that was amazing. It made my vacation. Yeah.
Who knew we had Disney World that close?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to say also, Jack and I rode out there, and this was my second time of being out there, and this was very educational, just to know what all and how much trash accumulate, and when you get through mashing and boiling it down, it's just flat. And they also indicated that that landfill will last 120 more years before it be filled up. So that'd be a long time. I'll be long gone by then. So, and probably some more will also. But just like Jackie said, it was very nice that we got a chance to go out this morning and visit it. And Scott, Dean, they talk highly about you out there also. So your pictures up, and I be saying, yeah, that's our county council, chairman of the county council. So, and they did indicate that if if we would like to get a group to come out, just let them know, and they'll get with the clerk and our county administrator, and they'll make preparation to get some people and citizens to come out and look at if they would love to.
Yeah, thank you. As a matter of fact, just as a quick side note, for those listening or watch this later, the Three Rivers landfill is made up of 9 counties.
That's right.
And over 100 years of space left. I assure you, there are places in this country that don't have 2 weeks left of space.
That's right.
And we have over 100 years. So that's very big for a lot of reasons: homes, businesses, industry, all those things. So that's a big plus to have that and not have to worry about it. Any other reports from anybody? Okay, thank you. I do want to take a moment to update council and the public on some economic development news. Each year, I go out with economic developer Will Williams and his staff to visit existing industries in Edgefield County. We don't get to each industry every year, but we visit as many of them as we can. And last month, we visited several. I'm pleased to report that none of them are planning to reduce operations. They are all either maintaining what they have now or plan to grow a bit over the next year or so. They also report they're pleased with the county's work with them and how well our economic development team works with them. Their only concern is always hiring good employees, but they all report that they have raised wages over the past year or two and are getting more employees in the door and are retaining more employees too. So that stability is good news for our citizens and for the county. Finally, I want to also remind everyone that our August meeting will be moved to August 8th, since the administrator and 2 council members will be attending the Association of Counties annual meeting the week before. So instead of August 1, it'll be August 8th. Council, that's all I have. Since there is no other business to conduct, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn. I'm sorry. I'll withdraw that motion. I'll withdraw that, yes.
Just to give my comments tonight.
Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped you, didn't I?
You have that right.
I'm sorry, thank you.
On the fire departments, 5 more firefighters have completed their emergency medical responder training. We thank Foster for facilitating that. He's actively compiling a list of participants for firefighter level 1. As you might remember, council approved funding to issue a stipend to firefighters for completing these various training events. So we look forward to great participation in that. On the topic of recreation, Edgefield County has received an appropriation for upgrades at Bettis Park from the state, in the state budget. Staff is currently compiling a list of needs to obtain quotes. This will include, and it's not all inclusive, new fencing, reworking baseball field infields, new playground equipment, including likely some adaptive equipment. We're excited about that. And we're also preparing a revised lease, and utilizing this money is contingent upon us entering into a revised lease with Mount Canaan Association. Council, each of you should receive a copy of that revised lease agreement for your review tomorrow, and Mount Canaan will also receive a copy of it so we can enter into those lease negotiations. We hope to have that on the agenda in August for approval. Employee of the Quarter. We have started an Employee of the Quarter program. We are about a month late, but we're currently accepting nominations for the second quarter, and a committee will review those recommended for Employee of the Quarter, and we've received several, and they'll select one. That person will be honored at the August County Council meeting. An Employee Appreciation Lunch will be held here in council chambers August 3rd. This will be dine-in or take-out. We look forward to seeing council members who are able to make it. Now, we understand that you work, but you're invited to come if you can, and we look forward to seeing you. And we hope to have as much participation from our county employees as possible. It's just a thank you to them. Upcoming meeting, I do hold management team meetings from time to time with department heads, but on August 7th at 10 a.m., I'll be holding a meeting in this building with all department heads, appointed and elected officials who manage county offices. The purpose will be to hear their concerns and priorities so that administration can provide assistance where possible. And of course, council members are invited to come, but no more than 2. So I would need to know who might be interested in coming. The animal shelter, the animal care and control facility is virtually complete. We're simply waiting on some back-ordered equipment and a veterinarian contract. We believe that we'll have that satisfied Friday, and we should be announcing a ribbon cutting very soon. We will run that in the advertiser. The last thing is, and Jerry alluded to this, I was invited to come to a meeting at the Senior Center this Thursday at 4 p.m. With the attendance at the convenient sites. And there has been a lot of concerns about inappropriate dumping in our convenience centers, whether it be from people outside of Edgefield County or people that are residents or not who are dumping construction materials or commercial materials. And I just look forward to hearing the ideas from the attendants that actually work there. It's easy for us to come up with ideas, but the people on the ground, I look forward to having that discussion with them and bringing some of the ideas back to council. That's all I have.
Questions or comments for the administrator? Okay. Hearing none. Is there anything else I have missed? Okay, if I hadn't missed anything else, then is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All right, Ms. Ireland makes the motion and Mr. Talbert seconds. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. All opposed, motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much.
No, we've never, what is, we've done that.
One time, not too long ago. I
Really?
thought.
Not that fast?
I was thinking so.
Okay.
Maybe 45 minutes or something. Yeah, it doesn't happen often.
Girl, we gotta get you out places. That's the best thing, is to you on your vacation.